Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. So we will start our discussion on mantra 16 of the Īśopaniṣad. So this mantra is in Ushnik Chanda, 28 syllables. Bhushannekashayam Surya Prajapatya Uyarasmin Samuha Tejo Yatte Rupam Kalyantamam Tatte Pashyami Yo Savasau Purusha Soham Asmi. O my Lord, O primeval philosopher, maintainer of the universe, O regulated principle, destination of the pure devotees, well-wisher of the progenitors of mankind, please remove the effulgence of your transcendental rays so that I can see your form of bliss. You are the eternal supreme personality of Godhead. Like unto the sun, so am I. So this is appearing in the concluding section of the four mantras, wherein the devotee is now praying for the mercy of the Lord to reveal himself. Right? So the previous mantra and this mantra are very, very similar to one another. The mood of the prayer is similar, some additional qualities of the Lord are glorified. And the last line of the mantra, Soham, so that is something that often misinterpreted. So we'll have some discussion on that line. So explanation of the mantra, so as I mentioned, is very similar to the previous mantra. So in the last two mantras, this request to the Lord to remove his effulgence has been repeated 4 times. So in mantra 15, it was prayed that apavarnu, that kindly remove drashtaye, kindly reveal yourself. Here it is mentioned, vyuharasmin, please remove the rays, samuha teje, please contain your effulgence. Right? So this repetition is an ornament for emphasis. That is conveying the complete dependence of the jiva on the Lord. Right? So it's a way of saying that there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Like in the mantra it is said that Hare Nam eva kevalam Kalav nasteva nasteva nastev gathiranyatha. Like there's no other way. 3 times it's repeated. And the repetition is for the emphasis of there's no other alternatives. Right? So here the devotee is saying that there is no other way to see the Lord unless one gets the mercy of the Lord. Right? So not by karma, not by kyan, not by yoga, not even by bhakti. Right? Because all these are qualifying aspects of the devotee's endeavor. But ultimately, the Lord needs to be pleased to reveal himself. Also repeats emotional ecstasy, because sometimes in ecstasy we tend to repeat. For instance, when Uttara, she saw the Brahmastra thrown by Ashwatthama heading to her womb, she runs to Krishna, right? And then she said, Krishna, Krishna, Mahabhavo. Right? So it said that she was so much agitated. It was not really ecstasy, but again, extreme emotion, so much agitation. So he said, Krishna, Krishna, Mahabhavo. So built into this mantra is also the supplicant stating his own qualification. Right? So the devotee is saying that I'm your own family, Lord. Right? Now he's not staking a claim. He's not saying that I have this qualification, so you must so to me. But he is entreating the Lord that you and I, we are of the same spiritual quality. I am your own family. So please be kind enough to reveal yourself. The fact that he's praying to the Lord establishes there are two people, one praying to the other, right? And also establishes that one person is dependent on the other. So unlike the Mayavadis who use this mantra to show that uh, the the person praying is establishing himself as the Lord, this is actually doing the opposite. Right? Because if the one person is praying to the other, clearly there have to be two people, one in a dominant position and one in the position of being a supplicant. And then we see there are additional qualities of the Lord that are glorified, which are also used by the acharyas to sustain this position that was made, that I am, where the person says, I am of the same quality as you are. Right? So he calls out, and Lord has infinite qualities, but he calls out some qualities. And the acharyas say that this is also the way for the devotee to say, just like you have those qualities, I also have those qualities. So, thematic analysis of purport by Srila Prabhupada, in the first two paragraphs, he comments on Vyuha Rasmin, that the basis of the Brahman is Bhagavan. Then in paragraph 3 and 4, Kalyanatamam, the Bhagavan is the most auspicious realization. Pushan, this was used in the last mantra also, and Prabhupada commented on how Pushan is a synonym or another name for Bhagavan. And here we look at it a little bit more details. Then Somasmi, this is the line that the impersonalist line, right? Somasmi literally means that I am you. Right? But contextually, it is interpreted as I am like you. So the living entity and the Lord are one yet different. Another Prabhupada explains on this concept. And then finally, the favor of the Lord sought by the prayer is fulfilled by Shuddha Bhakti. Prabhupada comments on that. So Pushan refers to one who is the maintainer. Right? And in Vishnu Puran, Parashar Muni gives the definition of Bhagavan. So there are more than one definition of Bhagavan. We'll look at another one later on. But there are actually several definitions of Bhagavan. And this is the beauty of Sanskrit, that you can break a word into different components, and through that you can derive different meanings. So here the definition of Bhagavan is Aishwarya Samagrasya Viryasya Yasha Shriya Jnana Vairagyayoscheva Shannam Bhaga Itingana. Right. So the word Bhaga refers to 6 opulences. So wealth, which is Aishwarya, then power, which is Virya, fame, which is Yasha, beauty, which is Shri, and knowledge, which is Gyan, and renunciation, which is Vairagya. And one means one who holds this in their entirety. So Bhagavan is one who has all these 6 opulence in their entirety. Right? So it is mentioned that there may be great personalities who have 1, 2, or 3 of these opulences to some extent. But only the Lord has it. He has all these opulences, and then his last opulence is Vairagya. That is not attached to the wealth or the beauty or the power or the fame or anything else. And when a jiva gets this, even if they get these opulences, they lose the quality of Vairagya. So Jiva Goswami says that the transcendental sound Bhagavan represents infinite knowledge, potency, energy, opulence, strength and influence, all without a tinge of material inebriety. So Jiva Goswami also analyzes the word Bhagavan more syntactically. So he breaks it into 3 parts: Bha, Ga, and Van. So Bha is one who fully maintains or who is the guardian. Ga is guide, which is Chaitya Guru, leader and creator. And Van is everything is within him and he is within everything. Right? So for the interest of time, I'm not going into. So Jiva Goswami goes into a much deeper analysis of each of these words. He refers to the Sanskrit dictionary and mentions how these words have all these meanings. So we also don't have to go into that depth, but extracted the essence of what he's saying. So when bha means one who fully maintains, it also implies that he fully maintains his unalloyed devotees. Right? Because somebody might say, how can you say that the Lord is fully maintaining when I'm starving? Right? Now, in a way, that is also being maintained by the Lord through the law of karma. But for the devotee, it actually means what it says, that the Lord fully maintains his unalloyed devotees. Then he is the guardian, constantly he protects them and removes circumstances that are unfavorable. Right? So this is essentially an analysis of the word Bhagavan in the context of his pure devotees. Then guide or Chaitya Guru, that he guides them progressively in the path towards devotional perfection. So it said that the Lord appears as Chaitya Guru from within as Paramatma and outside as the initiating spiritual master. And in both the roles, for a pure devotee or a sincere devotee, he plays the same role. Whether as the Guru or Paramatma, he guides them towards bhakti. Then the Lord is the leader. And so he awards the desired results of devotional service by giving himself to them. That's the quality of a leader. That the leader works essentially for the service of those who follow. In current day parlance, in corporate parlance, the term leader is actually getting replaced by servant leader. And it's interesting. Some of the people feel a little put off by the prefix of the servant, because servant obviously has completely different connotations, but the terminology is becoming more prominent now. As the Ga also means creator, which means that he creates all the necessary qualifications for a person to become a devotee. Right? So when the person takes to the path of bhakti, the Lord actively helps him to progress in that path. And one is everything and is in them. So devotees of the Lord see the Lord eye to eye by his causeless mercy. Because the Lord is within and the Lord is without, because of that, he is able to purify the eyes of the devotee. Premanjana churuti bhakti vilochanena. Right? So bhakti ayat says anjana. Anjan means kajal. So the eyes of the devotees are smeared with the love of the Lord. And the Lord then reveals himself to such a devotee. So a little bit more on the analysis of Bhagavan. So Prabhupada notes that Bha refers to Paramatma. Right? So Bha means one who fully maintains. And the Paramatma also maintains, but he only maintains in the material world. And Krishna maintains everything, material, spiritual, including he maintains the Paramatma also. So the Paramatma awards to the conditioned souls as per the karma and desire. But so in a way, the living entities have to work for the maintenance. Like if you go and join an organization, once you get a job, how much progress you make, or even if you keep your job, is based on how hard you're working and what your aspirations are, right? And on the basis of that, the organization reciprocates. You work hard. There are some people who work very hard, but they don't have strong aspirations to go up the corporate chain. They're satisfied, right? And that's what happens to them. They get well settled in the jobs. They may get good money, but they stay in that position. And there are others who work hard and also desire to progress, and that also happens. So it's the same thing with the Paramatma. So while the Paramatma is bestowing on the Jiva opulences, but it is not ahituki, it is not causeless. He is bestowing based on what their endeavor is and what their desire is. If they are doing pious work, the Paramatma maintains them lavishly. And if they do not have sufficient karma, it does not maintain them. That's why you see some people rich and some people poor. But Bhagavan maintains his devotees out of love. This is not based on their karma but on their dependence. That's the difference. That just like a father will maintain a son, not because he's evaluating the deliveries of the son, that today you did so much work and this was good quality. He is maintaining the son simply because of his affection to the son. Especially when the son is small, then because the dependence of the son on the father is complete, the protection and maintenance of the father on the son is also complete. So similarly, as the devotees become more naturally dependent on the Lord reciprocates by taking care of their maintenance out of love. Right? So Prabhupada also gives the example that the parents give more attention to younger children because they're more dependent. Like in a house, if there are 3 or 4 siblings, and the parents' attention will go more so to the youngest sibling, because the youngest sibling is more dependent on the parents. In the invocation, it was said that everything is complete in itself. Om Purnamada Purna Idam. And the Īśopaniṣad principle says that because of this perfection, there is no need for any interference. Right? So, because the non-devotees interfere with this, they forfeit the rights for the automatically available complete maintenance. By the nature of creation, everything is purna, complete, and if they are in the Īśavasya consciousness, which means that the complete whole recognizes the creating complete whole, the jiva recognizes the Lord, then that completion is automatically maintained. Like Prabhupada there says that all forms of incompleteness are derived because of incomplete realization of the Supreme Lord. So the non-devotees, because they interfere with this conception of completeness, so that relationship is contaminated. So this rights for the automatic maintenance of the Lord to the jiva is interfered. So more anecdotally, you can say that if a young child is dependent on if a son is dependent on the father will maintain it. But if the son says that I don't need your maintenance, I'm going somewhere else, the father will say, so be it, and will withdraw his maintenance. So this is actually summarized in this beautiful prayer, Brahma Samhita. Yastvandra gopam matavendra maho swakarma bandhanu rupa phala bhajanam apnanoti karamani nirdati kintu cha bhakti bhajam govindamadi purusham tamam bhajami. So here it's mentioned that from Indra to Indragopa. So Indra is the lord of the demigods and Indragopa is a small insect, right? So all of them are being maintained by the Lord. Now, those who are imbued with devotion and impartiality, so this is the quality of the bhakta, the Lord maintains them completely. Right? So there are 2 situations that are mentioned over here. So one is karmani nirdhati kintu, that for those who are dependent on or not dependent on the Lord, karmani nirdhati, that their karmas determine what happens to them. But bhakti bhajam, but those who are performing devotional service, bandhanu rupa phala bhajana matnoti. So for them, there is a whole different path of the Lord providing complete sustenance. So what is the nature of dependence of a devotee? So by seeing that how the Lord reciprocates with the devotee, then a person might say that I have to do nothing. I acknowledge Krishna as my Lord, and basically every day Uber should come and deliver me food, or I should get pizza and I should get money in my bank because I'm dependent on the Lord, right? So that is not the dependence of a sincere devotee. So what is the root of the dependence of the sincere devotee? That he understands the principle and the relationship, right? So what is dependence? Dependence means that I will do as you desire me to do. So same analogy, the son and the father. If the son is demonstrating true dependence on the father, that is manifested as following the desires and the wishes of the father. So the father comes to the son and says, study. And the son says, no, I don't want to study, but you should still maintain me fully. The father says, try and get a job. The son says, no, I want to play video games. So that mitigates the principle of dependence. Right? Dependence is not that the Lord becomes your servant and starts fulfilling all your desire. Dependence is, I am depending on you to tell me what to do. And because I perfectly understand the relationship, I will do what you ask me to do to the best of my ability. So devotees who demonstrate full dependence on the Lord are actually much more active in their endeavors. Srila Prabhupada, at the age of 70, he came to the United States when most of the people were well into their retirement. He had 2 heart attacks in the ship. He had another heart attack when he came. And despite poor health, for 11 years, he worked so hard, barely sleeping 2 to 3 hours a day. And at all the time, full dependence on the Lord. If you read his Markin Bhagavatam prayer, he says famously that I'm just a puppet in your hand. Make me dance as you wish to. Right? That's the mood of real dependence of a devotee on the Lord. And for the Lord, Srila Prabhupada would say that Krishna effortlessly takes care of an ant and an elephant. Right? And he happily maintains the devotee. It's not an endeavor for him. He's not begrudgingly doing it, that I got another freeloader. Right? So for him, when the devotee is demonstrating this quality, the Lord is more than happy to maintain them, to fulfill the desires, to take care of all their needs. We see that in the 6 Goswamis, that some of them would actually not even go out for Madhukari. They would simply sit and do bhajan or write books, and people would come by and take care of all their needs, offer them prasadam, do the cleaning that is needed. That's how the Lord takes care of his surrendered devotees. Now, G stands for Guru. So, as a guide, he provides guidance to his devotees in the form of his words in the scriptures. That is our first meeting with the Lord, is through the scriptures. So, when people start rejecting the scriptures, that is their first rejection of the Lord. Now, arguably, the scriptures are deep and wide, and they contain many apparently contradictory terms, many terms that cannot be understood, many terms that are nuanced, but they all come together when one studies the scriptures under the guidance of a guru. And especially in India now, it's become very fashionable to reject the scriptures or make fun of it, which is essentially people imbuing the slave mentality that was given by the Britishers. One of the first things that they did was to start blaspheming the scriptures, and more than 75 years later on, unfortunately, that mentality still is there. Then Krishna acts as Chaitya Guru both internally and externally. Right? So as Paramatma, the more a person makes devotional advancement, the more the Paramatma channel becomes tuned. Srila Prabhupada gives that example, gives that analogy. Srila Rampa Swami gives that analogy, that the Paramatma is speaking. So it's like you have a radio and there is a song broadcasting on a particular frequency, but you're tuned to another frequency. When you tune to that frequency, then you can hear the song. So as the devotees make advancement, they get tuned to the Paramatma frequency and they can understand more what the Lord wants. And then Chaitya Guru is also the external Guru, as your Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, as the Sadhu, the people who are spiritually advanced, and again as Shastra. As a Guru, he helps the devotees by bestowing his grace. Right? So the Guru is the manifestation of the grace of Krishna. So that is why the more senior devotees, Gurus, they are known as His Divine Grace. Hey, sometimes we say His Divine Grace is pointing to the person, that you are divine. Not really. What it means is that this person has received the grace of the divine. That because the Lord is pleased upon him, he has empowered him to now guide other people. So Srila Prabhupada is often referred to as His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And then he is Kalyantamam, most auspicious. He is the highest and the best destination. One is pointing to Brahman. So one means that everything is within him and he is within everything. So all the material and the spiritual worlds are maintained within the Lord. He is also the living force within everyone. Right? So his consciousness and the essence of being alive. So Srila Prabhupada says that the all-pervading feature of the Lord, which exists in all circumstances of waking and sleeping, as well as in the potential states, and from which the Jiva Shakti, living force, is generated as both conditioned and liberated souls, is known as Brahman. Since the Lord is the origin of both Paramatma and Brahman, he is the origin of all living entities and all else that exists. Right? And we'll talk a little bit about these waking and sleeping states that Prabhupada talks about. But the point that is made is that the Brahman is the living force within the Jiva Shakti, and the Lord is the basis of that. Now, this does not impinge on the individual identity of the Jiva. So it's kind of like you have a room and you have 20 different kinds of lamps. Some are 10 watts, some are 20 watts, some are yellow colored, red colored, white colored, and you plug them into the respective plugs. So the same electricity is running through all of them. But the lamps are still unique. If the Lord withdraws the power, then no jiva can sustain that. That's why it says, Nityo Nityanam, Chetnas Chetanam, Eko Bahonam Yo Vidadati Kama. There is one person who is maintaining all of them through this Jiva Shakti or the Brahman force. So when Srila Prabhupada says generated, it should not be taken in the context of time and space. Right? It does not mean that at a particular time the Lord, he pushed the generator button and then the jiva started coming out. Right? So just like the Lord is eternal, the jiva is also eternal. And eternally the Lord has been the consciousness and the living force in the jiva. So now we'll talk a little bit about this point that Prabhupada makes, that circumstances of waking and sleeping as well as in potential states. So in Mandukya Upanishad, it is mentioned that there are 4 states for the jiva. There is the Jagrat state, which is the waking, Swapna state, which is dreaming, which is also light sleep. There is Shushupti, which is deep sleep, beyond the dreaming. And there is Turiya, which is the transcendental state or the Brahman. So while we have experience with the 3 states, the 4th state we can derive by inference. So this state that is beyond the state of being awake, sleep, and deep sleep is the one that maintains the living entity when the person has beyond these three states. If that was not so, then every time the jiva, when he went into the transcendental state, he would wake up with no knowledge of the past. Or how would he even wake up? Right? So, if assuming that in the first three states, the consciousness of the jiva is still present, but in reducing extent. In a waking state, it is fully present. Dreaming state, a little less. Deep state, even less. But nevertheless, it is there. And that is what one can argue maintains the knowledge, maintains the memory, maintains the desires, and also it also then, because it is still active, it also reactivates, saying, okay, time to get up. But when the person is beyond deep sleep, then the consciousness is fully cut off at that time. So when the jiva's consciousness is cut off, then what would cause the jiva to wake again? And if the jiva's consciousness is completely cut off, and all these qualities of memory, of desires, if they're embedded within the jiva's consciousness, then all of them would be lost. So then by derivation we can understand at this stage the Brahman consciousness is maintaining the jiva. It is the Brahman consciousness that will maintain all the desires and aspirations of the jiva. It is the Brahman consciousness that will also wake the jiva up again. It is the Brahman consciousness that keeps the body running at that time. So we can understand that the Lord is within all living entities as Brahman. So now we come to the meditation on this prayer. So asavasau purusha soham asmi. Right? So the word aham refers to the devotee. Right? Because the mantra is a prayer that is recited by the devotee. So if I am saying something and then I say that I feel like that, then the I, the aham, refers to me. And asav means that. So that Purusha, right? So there is the repetition of asav, but the acharyas said this repetition is a representative of the transcendental ecstasy of the devotee. Like it's not grammatically it may be incorrect, but poetically it just represents the state of emotional ecstasy of the devotee reciting these prayers. So this is a statement made about the relationship, a comparison of the self to the Lord, right? So soham asmi. Yo aso purusha soham asmi. You are that person, and I am also that person, right? So you are the eternal supreme personality of Godhead, like unto the sun, as am I. And as I mentioned, that the impersonalists use this to indicate that the Lord and the jiva are one, which is another way of saying that the jiva is the Lord. Right? Prabhupada explains that using the analogy that the sun and the rays are the same, right? Because the rays are fully dependent on the sun, but there is a difference also, that the rays emanate from the sun. If the rays are not there, the sun will not be implicated. But if the sun is not there, the rays can never be present. And also the sun is one and the rays are unlimited. And then Prabhupada says within the sun resides the sun god that actually controls the sun. So the analogy is the sun god is like Bhagwan, the sun is like Paramatma, which is the more pervasive aspect, and the sun rays are like the jivas. So, in addition to the Soham Asud, the prayer also enumerates a few qualities of the Lord. And the acharyas say that the, the devotee is enumerating these qualities to emphasize on the qualitative oneness between him and the Lord, right? So he says, Ekarishi, that you are the primeval philosopher, the supreme seer beyond the perception of the senses. So the Lord is the seer, and the devotees are also the seer of the truth, right? That's why they read the Vedas. So it also means the power to see is there in both. The Lord, the devotee is seen by the Lord, and now the devotee prays to the Lord that he can also now see the Lord. Then Yama is the regulating principle or the inner controller. So the Lord is the Yama of all the things. Like the Lord says that if I do not control, the planets will not stay in their orbit. Because of my fear that the wind blows at the right time, the sun rises at the right time, the planets maintain their orbit. And the Jiva also has Yama. The Jiva controls his desires, the Jiva controls his engagements, inclination. And the Jiva is Yama because he is also controlled by the Lord. Surya means the sun god. Surya also means the destination of the Suris or great devotees who inspired the intelligence of his devotee. Right? So this quality of the Lord. So just like the Lord is effulgent, so this is looking at Surya as the sun god, the devotee is also effulgent. What makes a devotee effulgent? His devotion. Right? So in the Bhagavatam, in the 6th canto, when Indra goes to fight with Vritrasur. So earlier on he went to fight on his own and he was pale, he was scared. Vritrasur was so powerful. He was an Asura. And then Indra and the Devas, they go to pray to the Lord and the Lord gives them benediction. Now Indra heads back into the battleground and it says that his effulgence was so blinding that the Asuras could not tolerate it. So where did the effulgence come from? The effulgence was because he had received the mercy of the Lord. So in this way, the devotee is also Surya. And if you consider Surya to be consciousness, then you can understand that both the Lord and the Jiva are also fully conscious. Right? They are both Kshetragyas. Now the Kshetra might be limited. For the Jiva, the Kshetra is his own body. For the Lord, the Kshetra is the whole creation. But nevertheless, they are both Kshetragyas. Then Prajapatya. Prajapatya means the well-wisher of the Prajapatis, the inner ruler of all those who are born from Brahma. Right? So Brahma is the original Prajapati, and from there many Prajapatis like Kashyap and Daksha come, and then we are also Prajapatis because we also create Praja. We also procreate. Right? So in this way, the Lord is the original Prajapati or the well-wisher of the Prajapatis, and the Jiva is also a small Prajapati. Then aham, the literal meaning of aham means that which cannot be discarded. Right? So ha means discard and means not. So aham means cannot be discarded. So when referring to the Lord, it means that nothing in this creation can sustain itself without the Lord. Right? Then when it refers to the devotee, it means that the devotee cannot live without the Lord. Aham also means like somebody points the finger. It's a pronoun like I. So the point that is made is just like the Lord is I, the devotee is also I. Just as the Lord is a person, the Jiva is also a person. And Asmi means that he is situated in all beings because of his regard for the Jiva's external existence. Right? But the Supreme Lord also remains separate from all the Jivas. Right? So the Lord is everywhere, and in the Bhagavad Gita it is said that the Jiva is Sarvagatha. That the Jiva is also everywhere. Now, not one Jiva, but Jivas. Like Krishna makes this point that in every aspect of the creation there is a Jiva. And Prabhupada says that whether you look in fire or in water or on land, you will see some form of the Jiva living in with some quality that makes them suitable for living over there. So, expanding a little bit on Soham Asmi, again because the statement is misunderstood. Literally, the Soham Asmi means I am that, right? And the impersonalists, they say that it means that I am you, right? So, talking about that I am also God. For the devotees, this refers to oneness and quality, that I am the same as you. Now, this is the nature of Upanishads, they speak cryptically. So, they do allow for different interpretations, right? And that's why they are interpreted or misinterpreted by different scholars. So, contextually, based on the qualities that we just read, we can understand that the devotee has got many of the qualities that the Lord has. Actually, it's said that of the 64 qualities that Krishna has, the devotee has 50 qualities. Not the devotee, the jiva. All the jivas have 50 qualities. Everybody from Brahma. Like Vishnu has 60 qualities, Lord Shiva has 55 qualities, and the jiva has 50 qualities. So there is a qualitative oneness between the jiva and the Lord. And so when the jiva says, I am qualitatively the same as you, it's not an incorrect statement. Krishna is Satchit Ananda, right? So he is conscious, eternal, and pleasure speaking. So is the jiva. The jiva is also Satchit Ananda. So in Soham Asmi, so Asmi literally means that, but it also means my energy. So by that energy of Krishna, everything comes about. So when the jiva says Soham Asmi, he is saying, I am your that energy. So we just said that how Brahman is the energy of the Lord that creates consciousness within the jiva. So when the jiva is saying I am that energy, then it's a correct statement that yes, even though I'm individual, I'm actually powered by your Brahman energy. But if it is illogically extrapolated, like if the jiva is saying I am your energy, which means I am you, then there is a fallacy, there is a logical fallacy. Prabhupada once explained to Achyutanand Swami, saying that it's true to say that I am ISKCON, but it does not mean that ISKCON is me. Right? You cannot extrapolate it. ISKCON is many more other things. Hundreds and thousands of devotees and temples and deities and prasadam distribution. But when Prabhupada says, I am ISKCON, he was the founder Acharya of ISKCON. The ISKCON was created because of him. So that's an accurate statement. But extrapolating and saying that ISKCON is Prabhupada, that is not so much. Then one of the acharyas does a bit of a grammatical analysis, right? So he says that when somebody makes a statement, I am that. So there are the verb am is the verb am is joining the two pronouns I and that, right? So essentially there has to be symmetry in what is being joined. Okay? So if I and that are being joined, then I and that have to be symmetrical. So if a person says that I am that other object, that is a logical fallacy, because I refers to a person and an object refers to, let's say, chair. The person says I am that chair. So the person standing is a person and the object is a chair. So there's obviously there's a logical fallacy over there. So what does it mean when here it said Soham Asmi, I am that? The devotee is saying that I am of the same quality as the Lord. Right? So if two things are being compared, they have to be qualitatively symmetrical. So he's saying I am of the same quality of that of the Lord. But then at the same time, when there are two things, it means that there are two distinct things. And so if, for instance, I say that I am me, it doesn't mean anything. Obviously I am me. So the statement is grammatically fallacious, right? I am me doesn't mean anything. So when two things are being compared, they need to be different. So Soham Asmi, what does it mean? The Jiva and the Lord are qualitatively the same. That is why they can be used in the statement. But at the same time, the fact that they are being compared to each other means that they are distinct. So this essentially encapsulates the essence of Vaishnava theology, that the Jiva and Krishna are qualitatively the same, but they are quantitatively distinct. So Jiva Goswami writes in Durgam Sangamani Tika about the influence of Gyan on Bhakti. As he says, Gyan, and Gyan is again a loaded statement, a word that can contextually refer to different things. Gyan can refer to Atma Gyan, which is knowledge of the soul. Gyan can refer to Ishvara Gyan, which is knowledge of the God. Gyan can also refer to Ekatva Gyan, which is knowledge of oneness. So real Gyan refers to spiritual reality where there is Atma and Ishwar. Right? When Gyan starts talking about Ekatva, then it is actually going into the area of nations or ignorance. And because of this distinction, the devotees have no urge to merge. Like the Mayavadis, they have the urge to merge. But because the devotees understand Atma and Ishvara Gyan, they reject Ekatva Gyan. So there's a statement that is made that if miracles became a testing ground for God, then the circus would be the manifesting ground for them. And some people say that if God is present, why doesn't He do miracles? But the point is that if God is judged by the miracles that He performs, then you should go to a circus to see gods over there, or a magic show to go to see God over there. So the point is that through the eyes of the scriptures, through the eyes of those who have read the scriptures, the dhiras, one understands who God is. One cannot understand God by seeing the miracles that they perform, by demanding miracles, or by mental speculation. One cannot attain God. Only by proper pursuance of Atma Gyan and Ishvara Gyan, which is essentially what Īśopaniṣad is doing. So, Gyan can be pratikul to bhakti or anukul to bhakti. So, when Gyan is pratikul, that means it has an adverse effect. And when it is anukul, it has a beneficial effect. So in pratikul mode, when Gyan is pratikul or adverse to bhakti, it denies the distinction between Jiva and the Lord. Right? So it denies the eternality of bhakti. Because the mood of the Mayavadis is, I will worship you until I become you. And then there is no need to worship you. But from a Vaishnava perspective, bhakti is eternal. Whether in a condition or a perfected stage, there is always the Lord and the Jiva. So when Gyan is anukul to bhakti or favorable to bhakti, then it emphasizes on the uniqueness and the subordination of the soul to the Lord. So those who practice Gyan pratikul bhakti, adverse bhakti, their heart becomes hard. Why? Because of pride. Because they go around thinking I'm God and I'm actually a bigger God than others. So their heart becomes hard to things like compassion and empathy. When Gyan Anukul Bhakti is practiced, then it actually stabilizes the bhakti practices. And one gets Sambandh Gyan, Abhidaya Gyan, Pravachan Gyan, all these, they stabilize bhakti. The destination of those who practice Gyan Pratikul Bhakti is hoping to merge, and they enter the Brahman, which is essentially the end of the bhakti. And for Gyan Anukul Bhakti, they continue to progress in the application and the understanding of the Lord's glories. Right? So in the Katha Upanishad, this mantra is there that the self Atman cannot be attained by the study of scriptures, not by intelligence, not by much hearing. It is attained only by one whom the self chooses. To such a person, the self reveals its own form. Right? So it is talking about the final step of mercy that is needed before one can perceive the Lord. So the conclusion is only by the mercy of the Lord can one see Him. A Jnani may reach the Brahma Jyoti and the Yogi may reach Paramatma realization. But when they realize that they have to make further progress, they need to surrender to the mercy of the Lord. This is that prayer. Now, interestingly, this is also the prayer of a practicing devotee at the time of death. Because at this time, the devotee, there is nothing else to be done. At the time of death, it is the end. So everything that was done, there's no point in regretting everything was done in the past. There is no point in gloating what was done in the past. Because there is nothing you can do about it. The only thing that you can do is to pray for the mercy of the Lord. So that is why it said that this is the prayer of a practicing devotee at the time of the death. So two kinds of people pray in this mood: the yogi and the devotee who is dying. So Prabhupada says this is the progress of the Īśopaniṣad. It begins with accepting to live by the science of Īśāvasyam and ends with explaining the consciousness at the time of dying. Right? And really speaking, there's not much difference between the two. That Īśāvasyam is living, understanding Krishna's possession. And at the time of dying, the prayer is again understanding Krishna's possession. That you are supremely independent, and despite anything and everything, right and wrong that I may have done, please reveal yourself. But this is the mature realization of a lifetime of living in the Īśāvasyam consciousness. So oneness and quality may be emphasized, but does not deny the difference in quantity. Right? The Soham Asmi. So this brings us to the end of the mantra, and we have two more mantras left, so we'll continue with the discussion in the next recording. Thank you very much. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.